Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here with a black tea, an Indian black tea. I'll talk more about it in just a moment. So I try to keep to the vessels, equipment that is most often associated with different kinds of tea from different locations. So I've got a tasting cup here and I'm scooping in enough. I want to cover the bottom surface so that I don't, basically so I can't see through the tea leaves and see the bottom of the cup here. This is roughly 3 ounces is what it would hold in water by itself, so it looks good. Water's been brought to a kind of an early boil, started to rumble. A full rolling boil though. I'm going to add enough. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there is a notch there in the cup. That's where I'm going to be pouring from. So I'm going to add my water just below that. Looks good. Get this kettle out of the way. My lid has a hole. I want that hole to be back towards the handle side here, so that when I tilt this over, the air can flow through the hole and give you a nice, avoid a dribbly pour. Okay, so this particular tea from DarjeelingTeaBoutique, it is a first flush Badamtam1FAVClonal AV2 is the way it's described. Within a tea estate, there may be different types of variety, cultivated varieties, cultivars that are used. They're grown within that estate, and so they can combine those, or they may harvest them separately. In this case, this is a particular clonal that was used. You can get 50 grams of this for $21.95, and I should say you could get. It's currently out of stock, but I'm going to look at this anyway. One, it can tell us about what this particular tea estate has to offer. Two, it tells us about the kind of the selection abilities of DarjeelingTeaBoutique. 2013, somewhat more of the second flush than the first, but generally just the 2013 harvest for Darjeeling teas is not going to go down in history as one of the strongest showings. So if there is anything here in what is considered kind of a weaker year, that tells us that in the future, in stronger years, gives us a clue there's even more to look forward to. So starting with the dry leaf, then going on to the wet leaf and the liquor here. First off, nice, clean, strong aroma. You've got the muscatel type smells. Okay, so if people may ask, what does muscatel really mean? I put it in the range of grape, and there are grapes that are more floral. There are grapes that often have kind of almost a rose-like component to their taste or their aroma, and that's what I pick up here, is a more rose-like grape. I should say that would be maybe the closest way to describe without using that word muscatel. Looking at these leaves here, a lot of these leaves are bright green. You're getting fuzzy buds or tips there, so that you've got silvery color. You've got some bister kind of, some pieces that have, some leaves that have oxidized more. You get, so they're more of a gray brown type of color. You do have a little bit of kind of a rust red, orange type of color, rusty orange type. A lot of these leaves or needles. A lot of these are needles, I would say. At least in this scoop here, 50%, 60% even. The needles and many of the leaves here, an inch or more in length. So fairly good size. Variety of colors, brighter, greener looking, silvery looking as well. So that's the dry leaf. I'm going to move on now. Now this is the standard tea tasting set, the cup and the bowl. And so when you want to use these together, you would pour over, rest, And it's designed so that the size is right to catch and hold the cup there. Now I want to be able to shake out those last few drops. Of course, in a white bowl, it's not easy to hold up to the light and display here, so I am going to move that to my, I'll go ahead and do that now. I'm going to move that to my pitcher so that you can see the liquor better, or I should say, see it at all. All right, so that's there. Move on to talk about this wet leaf a little bit. Give it a smell first. I'm going to shake this a little bit. Yeah, give it a smell. Again, this the sweet rose grape type smells, sweet spices, allspice, that kind of smell, maybe kind of a clove sweetness there. So those are pleasant notes. It's not excessively overpowering either, so that's a positive. Let me turn this over. The way to use a tasting cup is also handy for looking at the leaves, because you turn it upside down, you shake, the leaves then fall onto the lid, and you then turn the lid, put that upturned lid, rest it on top. You can look at your leaves there. Looking at these leaves, I'm going to kind of push them back in towards the middle. Leaves have opened up, and so you're able to pull portions of leaves out now. That was kind of from a midsection of a leaf there, like brighter green in color. You have some more, you have other leaf portions that are more of a blotchy brown, where more oxidation took place. All those needles, I'm going to look for something, if I see what kind of needles I got in this particular component. Here's a needle with a leaf that was about to come off, so it kind of folded and just now fell off, and so you've got a bud or a needle there. Let's see, here's a couple more I found resting on the bottom, so I'll put those on top. They've loosened up. They've loosened up quite a bit. You can tease those apart with your fingers and open up and see the inner layer, the even newer leaf, younger leaf inside that one. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to the liquor. There's a kind of a swirl here. A nice, fairly bright yellow color. Some Darjeelings move over towards a more orange, coppery type of color, bright copper. The rose, the light, the gentle clove is still there. There's also a bit of a boiled corn, the kind of sweetness that comes off of a boiled corn on the cob in particular. Okay, so looking at giving this a taste now. Things to consider with Darjeelings. Astringency levels. Some people want a brisker punch. Some people want gentler, smoother, almost no astringency. Some people are looking for that. Aromas and taste. Some people are looking for a definitive pop. Some people are looking more for subtler elements that last longer. So this particular one, there's a light amount of astringency there. At this impression, my initial impressions here. This is kind of a safe middle range as far as astringency. One that is probably forgiving. If you were to say oversteep this, it would get astringent, but probably not unpleasantly or excessively astringent, I should say. It's got some texture. It's not overly drying. Really nice coating. The aroma and taste are not the most intense, but yet still in the aftertaste, I'm still tasting that rosy grape type of sweetness going on. You know, a little bit of allspice kind of spiciness in there, sweet spice in there too. It's lasting. It's still going. And kind of smack my mouth, move my tongue around, still get it there. So it's a sustained aftertaste. It's sweet. It's not drying well. It's not drying either. It's kind of it's causing some salivation, so it feels like a kind of a juicier type of aftertaste too. So looking at this and within the range of what Darjeelings can do, what different people expect them to do, this one's a fairly good balance. It's got aromas. It's got some intensity there, some intensity, I should say, but yet that the duration there is quite strong. It's got a little bit of astringency if you want a little bit of a kind of a brisk element there. Yet it's not. It doesn't seem to be one that's going to be over steep and get excessively astringent. The astringency just gives a nice kind of powdery feel through to the aftertaste. So that's positive. So if I'm looking at this one, I would probably give this tea a good decent score. It's a good kind of a base type of Darjeeling tea. I'd probably give this one a 90. So it's got some good qualities there. It's going to be fairly. It seems to be fairly forgiving. So you can experiment with it, and pull out different components by using different levels, amounts of leaf or water temperature or steep time. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find those teas that will be good and stable, the ones that you can kind of grow with and experiment with.